is Sabrina, and I'm at the CHA show in the Clearsnap booth. And today we're going to be creating a layout using the new Teresa Collins pigment inks. And we're just working on a few techniques to create a blended ombre background, as well as some stamping and embossing. And there's a few tricks that you can use to create your own pattern papers and embellishments. So let's get started. To start with, we're going to grab our white paper out of our bags. And there's two sides on it. You're going to want to use the smooth side, not the textured. And then in your bags you also have these little blending kits. Grab the color blender. That's this little tool. And there's some interchangeable pads. And just go ahead and grab all those and pull them out. And we're going to blend starting at the bottom and work our way up. So pink, red, teal, the gold, and then the black. That's a way to kind of extend the life of it. So I'm using pink on one side and red on the other. You guys are already starting to know what you're doing. Just a little tip to extend this. I'm using pink on one side and red on the other.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to do that, but I am.
So we're doing two different colors on it?
Yeah, that's what I like to do, just because you get a little bit of extra life out of it. If you have one for every color, you obviously don't need to do that. When we're blending, the pigment ink is a really great ink for this. It's one of the only ones that takes a long time to dry, so you can really play around with it a lot. All right. First, we're going to iron your pages so they'll dry, and I'll take these over here.
Thank you. I know what you're doing. I'm doing it.
No, you're fine. Thank you. So you can grab your stamp set.
So excited.
You can grab your stamp and ink it up in gold. And this is the diamond border. This is the Teresa Collins for Fiskars, and these are continuous stamps, cool. So they line right up, so you can create one long. You can make your whole page if you want to. Up these stamps with the gold. I find that it's easier, I don't know how familiar you are with stamping, but to put the pad on top of the stamp with the pigment ink and just really press it down to make sure that the color is even. All right. Then we're going to sprinkle on the embossing powder. You should have some in your bag. And the pigment ink is wet. It's wet for a while, so you have some time to work with it, but I like to get it on there as fast as possible. I like to use just a paper towel because the pigment ink comes off of there really easily. I'm going to hold it like this at an angle. Here, I'm stamping right here. And then I sprinkle on it and then it just, the excess falls off, and it stays exactly where it needs to. The reason we dried the background is because the pigment ink would otherwise collect all of the embossing powder, and we just want it where we're stamping. Stencils, these are also by Teresa Collins, and there's 3 stencils in here. And I am working on the lower section of the paper, the pink. And if you want to use your pencil, and there's some rulers on the table too. All right. And with these, you can just start. We're just going to line this up on the line, and we're going to use an art dauber, one of these little tools, with our black ink. And we'll just line the letters up to spell so fancy. So S. I guess the O is the 0. And just line the bottom of the letter up on that line. And I use an ink dauber tool. You can grab a new one to blend that part. You don't have to cover the entire background. If you want, you can do the entire piece, or you can just go right around the edges, because the photo is going to be covering up that centerpiece anyway. And dab that into your pink ink, and then just very gently do the rotation. So I've got this small paper, and we're actually going to use just a pencil eraser to stamp some polka dots in the teal color. So let me show you. Just like that. That's just a simple tool to use if you don't have any, like if you're traveling and you don't have stamps with you. And you can dip the eraser in the pad and then stamp it, 3 or 4 times before it runs out of ink. Some of the dots will be lighter, some will be more intense. So we're going to apply a little bit of adhesive to the letter A and stick it onto the vellum to create a mask. There's no adhesive on there. You'll have to use your tape runner. Oh. Yep. But then just take your teal ink pad and just press it down on there and get a lot of color on there. And then you can use your color blender that you used on the ombre page to smooth the color out. Then we'll remove that A and heat emboss. Okay. And if there's any adhesive residue, you can use your eraser too. You're all up. And then we're going to cover that again with the embossing powder and heat set that. I'd actually seen some pre-made embellishments like this, and I thought that'd be really easy to make. So then just to assemble your little embellishment cluster, the gold doilies underneath, and then this paper's here, and your little A goes here, and then there's a paper clip in the bag to hold it all together. And I just kind of put it on there so it looks casually thrown together. There's some little hearts in there, you see them. And then when you have those together, you can grab one of those foam dots. They're in that bag there, the thermal web foam squares, and pop up the large star